What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, aka that old guy that wears sunglasses indoors and still thinks he's cool for some reason on YouTube. And I've really been living up to the part very recently because, yeah, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on that's reminded me that I'm old. So, yeah. Anyways, today is October 14th, 2025. Do you know what that means? The Windows 10 era is over. That's taking some time to sink in for me as well. I'm not pausing for effect. I'm just letting you folks know, that it's an adjustment basically. The Windows 10 era is over. Man, can you believe it? Now, there's something that'll make you feel old. And I'm sure some of you are going to be joining me in my misery now, because I'm sure some of you remember and were around when a younger, more bright-eyed version of myself, whatever, was like, yeah, Windows 10, I can't wait for Windows 10, woo! Then, of course, I was an early adopter. I used Windows 10 from the beta to when it went retail with the free upgrades, and I didn't get rid of it until, well, the writing was starting to be on the wall, and I built my Ryzen box and made sure that it would go Windows 11 straight off the bat. And I've been using Windows 11 since. Took some getting used to with some of the feature differences between Win 11 and Win 10. And some of the adjustments that had to be made for the more generic Windows UI and stuff like that. But I've been very much using Windows 11 since then and not really having any issues. So some of that is because I emphasize the CPU when building gaming PCs, then upgrade the graphics card midway through. So basically what happened was it didn't matter that Windows 11 used more resources. I had a more powerful CPU probably than I need for games. It's more for, things like crunching videos and doing a bunch of stuff at once with the way this Ryzen 9 operates. I don't even have the turbo turned on. I don't even have the performance-based overdrive turned on or any of that other factory overclocking stuff. I'm just using it at the base 3.7 gigahertz max per core. And I'm getting like 25 to 30% CPU usage total. So it's not even an X3D. So yeah, definitely a multitasking monster with 64 gigs of RAM these days. So I can be crunching videos, playing a game, and the system is like snoozing like, that all you got, old man? So yeah. And we'll see how long I just hammer away on this hippie chip, especially with how AMD has been resting on their laurels with not having successors to the specific chip that I bought and just trying to milk money out of gamers with new X3D chips some of whom's designs are better than others. But that's another discussion. So anyways, it is the end of an era and times are changing. And some of you who have been very nosy on my channel, if there's anyone, may have noticed that I created a Wacky World of MultimediaJay intermission. Not really a season, but like a mini season, because that theme I made and the stuff I want to make for the tech videos, we're going to save that until next year, and we'll have that for like the 20-year celebration and stuff like that in 2026. But I do want to do a few more tech projects before the year is out. I finally have some inspiration to do some tech videos again, and the sad, somber sunset of Windows 10 has some stuff to do with some of that. Some of you who are less nosy and, just look at the videos will have seen Tuxedo doing its thing with its cover off in the background with some command prompt based operating system running. Tuxedo has been my deban station for the past couple of days. I am debanning every single mechanical hard drive that I have left. The hard drives are out of all the project computers, even if it makes them non-functional. And everything has it. All my major systems have an SSD running Windows nowadays. The eMachine piece of crap, no, that was never all that great to begin with. Probably deserves to be recycled. Or I can pull some SSDs out of stuff like Rubbish or the Turd Shiba, because I'm assuming those processors are worthless these days. If those laptops even still power on. How long have I had the Turd Shiba unplugged? Like years at this point? Oh man, oh man, oh man. So, With the sunsetting of Windows 10, I've also decided to go all in on solid state 2020. I only talked, half a decade ago about saying goodbye to hard drives, and I did it with Monolith, and now I think it's finally time to do it with everything else. So, hard drives, done. Even though the newest hard drives that I have are from like 2021 or something, Seagate, Barracuda, 2 terabyte. Just the economies of scale have ruined hard drives. I don't really know, other than having a ginormous hard drive, like 10 terabytes or something, that doesn't cost a lot, that doesn't cost as much as a 10 terabyte SSD. At the lower sizes, like 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes, SSDs have dropped. They've dropped. Yeah. Once I noticed that entry-level SSDs, whether serial ATA or M2, are down to $50 a terabyte, I was like, it's over. It's over. What are the hard drive companies even still doing? And we did Seagate have SSDs? I think they did. But Western Digital definitely did. So it's nice to see the hard drive incumbents seeing the writing on the wall and getting into SSDs themselves instead of letting themselves get blockbuster videoed. So you Zoomers, ask your parents what that means. You probably know because of Wikipedia. Well, the term would be Netflixed, but if you're talking about an old dinosaur business getting run out of business, we have to say that you were blockbuster videoed instead. You have to say that you were blockbuster videoed instead. So, yeah. Tuxedo is the D-band station, destroying the data on all of my hard drives, and if they fail, they get smashed against the ground, so make sure that they are mechanically destroyed as well. I don't care, well, there's no warranties left to void, but we're engaging in warranty voiding behavior. Yeah. So yeah, end of an era. Windows 10, dead. No longer doing anything with hard drives either. $50 a terabyte for entry-level SSDs, even M2s. They're just Gen 3 instead of Gen 4, and but just to get the benefits of an SSD versus all the problems that mechanical hard drives brought to the table. No, I looked and I checked to see how cheap hard drives were getting. Seagate Barracuda, 2 terabyte, $65. So that's still a deal with like $30 a terabyte if you don't care about performance. But I'm like, yeah, well, not really. I might keep the newest 2 terabyte Seagates around, but I really think I should just bite the bullet and just say goodbye to the technology completely. Just get new SSDs from Monolith and pass the old ones around like I always do. So there are even things you can put M2s inside to have them fill the role of a serial ATA SSD. So technically I don't even need to buy serial ATA SSDs anymore. They'll just make for real easy plug-in drives. Plus, I don't know if USB is going to get fast enough to really do M2 speeds, or is it there and I'm just not paying attention to it? I don't know. We'll look that up some other time. But yeah, the only moving parts left in the computers is going to be the optical drives, assuming I even still want to use them for anything besides backing up data, because my PC gaming collection that still ran off of CDs is obsolete now as well. Battlefield 1942 was the final PC game that I still wanted to install off the CD, and game over. That'll be another discussion for another day. But yeah, it's just these appliance computers we have where there are no moving parts. That's fast becoming, except for the fans, of course, if they have them. That's fast becoming the standard these days, especially with the way that USB has gotten in removable storage and cloud and networking, and there are network speeds now that you can have a LAN speed of like gigabits per second now, which slams your processor. So getting all that data at once, so you do want a powerful processor if you have fast networking. I mean, I can actually, if I download at 500 megs per second over fiber, it actually does send some of my older processors for a loop. It does put them through the mill. So Unfortunately, some of those old motherboards don't have full speed networking on them, which might be the one thing saving the computers from being de facto DDoSed, depending on how wimpy the old processor is. But yeah, Tuxedo is serving the role of a debanning station. I do have some plans for it afterwards, though. But anyways, so the big thing I want to do with tech videos, now that I finally have some inspiration, I want to do some more for this intermission that I've had with like the Atari project and stuff like that. I want to do some more old-fashioned tech videos on this channel because I finally have some inspiration to do them. I got some ideas for projects. I just didn't want to have like stuff that I did just to do it. So make yet another Delosaurus video. That's another thing I'm looking into as well, because I don't have a real backup computer right now. I found out the hard way that my 2010 system is technically could run Windows 11, but the processor really shows its age in a Win 11 environment. I was getting processor capped. I delusionally thought that I was fine with my old system before I upgraded to the Ryzen, that I was getting processor capped. I saw it in some of my game performance, and now I'm seeing it trying to run like Forza Horizon or the Crew Motorfest or some of the newer games, or some of those newer games on my old Skylake that was 4.8. So instead of 1224, which I have with the Ryzen right now. So it's just, so man, it's just the silent aging of technology. So unfortunately, it is time for things to change on this channel. I'm going to go around, I'm probably going to pare down the project computers that I have. I'm trying to figure out what specifically I'm going to do with each one and what I want to do with them. So the two classic cases, the Chief Tech Dragons that I have, the Silver Bullet case and the Tuxedo case, we'll keep those because they have some sentimental value and they represent my favorite decade, the 2000s, the early 2000s and the late 2000s respectively. And I've just done the upkeep on them to basically keep them. Unfortunately, Tuxedo's case is rusting from old age. It was steel and not aluminum, and that's starting to cause problems, but it hasn't rusted through yet. But unfortunately, New England weather is getting to it after nearly 20 years. So it had a good run. But I mean, my back and everything these days, lugging that big steel behemoth versus its much lighter aluminum counterpart. And a lot of the problems I had with noise back in the 2000s with the Silver Bullet were because no fan controllers on motherboards. Everything always ran full speed. And that thing only had 80mm fans, so loud and drony if it's running full speed. Most of the time at Monolith, I run everything at half speed. I only use the fan controller to turn up the fans when I actually think I need some more airflow. I don't even have to have them on automatic anymore. But I got a feeling that a retro system in the Silver Bullet with newer technology, even if it's Core 2 era, would be fine. I'm trying to figure out with the Silver Bullet whether I want to keep it as Athlon 64 or put the mid-noughts thing in there. Go Core 2 Quad, Windows XP, 4 gigs of RAM, which 32-bit OS will only support 3 gigs of that, but it's 20-year-old technology. Who cares? And I will put an SSD in it like everything else. It's not going to be as legit, but I think something went wrong with the hard drive I ran Windows XP on last time. So probably put 500 gigs in there, or 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte I think was as high as I got before I went to Windows 7. So I want to make like the ultimate Windows XP machine out of the Silver Bullet, even if it's not an AMD anymore. So I might go Core 2 Quad for the Silver Bullet. Probably going to go Core 2 Quad, Silver Bullet, 4 gigs of RAM, Windows XP, retro stuff. Tuxedo, with its Mint motherboard and Mint processor with the FX chip that's in it, the hippie chip of the AMD FX series, is grotesquely out of date. It is grotesquely out of date, probably won't run Windows 11. So that will be my Linux machine. The experimenting that I do with Linux will be on Tuxedo, fitting the name of the computer and the Linux Penguin, of course. I finally will have a Linux machine that I don't really care. It has no Windows future. I'm not gonna, unless I don't have enough SSDs too, that if I want to turn it back into a Windows machine, I'll just put an extra SSD in there and swap the plugs. Do it the Skunkworks way. Make it an XP machine when I want it to, because look, I've had very few SSDs die over the past almost 15 years. So very few of my SSDs have kicked the bucket over the past 15 years, which is more than I can say for 15 years of hard drives. That's any 15 years of hard drives, mind you. Hard drives, I always had to cross my fingers and hope I didn't have a head crash or something like that. But the way computing has changed, it's not an issue if I change what computer it is by changing what the SSD is. Hey, maybe I can put in a blue one for Windows and like a black drive for Linux. Who knows? But Tuxedo is my oyster. It's big. I can move plugs around. I can do all kinds of stuff. I don't think it's going to run Windows 11. Now, for literally every other system, the old laptops, the Dellosaurus and Dellosaurus Rex, if it doesn't run Windows 11, it's over. The parts are coming out and it's getting junked. Now, I know what parts I'll be pulling from that, so I could theoretically use them in a system that runs DDR4 RAM and stuff like that. It's not going to be the end of the world. I also have my Skylake as well, my Skylake system, which my dad is probably going to be looking for a new computer now that Win 10 is end of life. So I might convert my 2010 system because I'm getting so processor capped on my Skylake. Because I'm getting so processor capped on my Skylake, I think what I'm going to do is make like one last video showing how it struggles, and then, yoink the graphics card, yoink everything, go back to integrated graphics, make something for my dad to use for email and stuff like he's done with the Lenovo for nearly 10 years. Yeah, so I'd say the Lenovo had a pretty darn good run as well. Yeah, remember a Lenovo weekend? That was what, 2016? Had to have been, because I did it in this house. So, yeah, my dad got the better part of a decade, and only through forced obsolescence with Windows 11 is he in any way, shape, or form losing the Lenovo. But if it doesn't run Windows 11, it's junk as far as I'm concerned. So, and he's had one computer and never needed any of his backups all these years, so I'd say he had a good run. I can tell you the Skylake I had was pretty rock solid, and with integrated graphics, it probably will be even more rock solid. Or I could give him one of my graphics cards, but he doesn't play any video games, so I don't think that really matters. Give him the 1050 Ti, who knows? Won't add any extra power draw to the system because it runs off the motherboard. Well, it will, but not like that much. Either way. Yeah, the silent aging of technology, folks. The silent aging of technology. So for Dellosaurus and Dellosaurus Rex, no Windows 11, junk heap, done. They had a good run. But I can tell you, whatever those two computers can still play, if my Skylake is going all crap on me, those machines are going to be worse. So even if you were one of those people that held onto your Sandy Bridge as long as you possibly could, if you haven't gotten rid of your i7 Sandy Bridge by now, what the hell are you doing? So first, we gotta, and I'm not going to have like a Hackintosh Windows 11 machine with those. I don't want some sluggish experience because I'm being delusional with old Dells. Plus, there's a new Dellosaurus in town. I don't know how many of you people have watched Toasty Bros videos or been on eBay, but Alienware Auroras represent a Dellosaurus challenge for me. Alienware Auroras are the unsung heroes of PC gaming right now. For people that want to get into PC gaming on the cheap, with an appliance PC that they'll probably have to part out when they have to make this upgrade or that upgrade, there are Alienware Auroras with an i7 Coffee Lake, which is the minimum to run Windows 11. That are selling on eBay for under $300. Toasty Bros had one. I've got a graphics card that I'd love to put in one of those if the power supply can handle it. I just, since we're talking about Alienware, we just got to make sure it's not proprietary like Dell back in the day when they use industry standard parts with proprietary wiring. So if you mix matched, everything fried. I want to know why those Alienware Auroras are crashing so badly in value. What's the proprietary hitch? Could we rescue a decent gaming PC out of an Alienware Aurora? That's my question. Could we rescue can we rescue a decent gaming PC out of an Alienware Aurora and make that the new Dellosaurus? Yeah, sure. The whole Delosaurus thing has hit the constitutional monarchy part of its history, where the term is becoming more of a figurehead. But if my phone is done updating, where the hell is that thing? If my, hard to see when everything blends in and it's so dark here. Whatever. Anyways, we'll just open up on screen number 2. And, does Dell own Alienware? Yeah, March 2006. A little old. I'm a little creeping decrepitude. My memory ain't what it used to be. So technically, an Alienware Aurora is a Delosaurus. It just has Alienware on it. But you know as well as I know, folks, that the whole Delosaurus thing has been changing big time. Yeah, there's the Toasty Bros that are repurposing Office machines, but if they're too proprietary or they have too many gotchas or PCI Express, we're looking more for games or PCs that are custom built for gaming from the get-go that may have cost a ton back in the day but crashed hard since then. Hell, maybe I should take an Alienware Aurora and try and fit that stuff in a tuxedo. Who knows? But I think it might be time, though, for a new case, especially if I'm at the point now, well, new Windows has problems with old CD games, unfortunately. You know what? Well, heck with it. I feel old. Let's talk about it. With the release of Battlefield 6, I tried getting back into Battlefield 1942 because I'm old. My Microsoft Sidewinder joystick died, and I had to recycle it, so I might need something new to fly the planes with, but I reinstalled Battlefield. I tried to reinstall Battlefield 1942. Unfortunately, this was the final game that I really wanted to install off a CD. Most of my other PC games have been re-released on a digital platform like Steam, or something else, and I've rebought them for like pennies on the dollar to take them digital with all the Steam sales and all the other stuff that's going on. Battlefield 1942 was one of the wild exceptions. It was on Origin once upon a time as a free download, but I didn't get it, unfortunately. But this game is mint. The discs mint, no scratches. I think to get around the disc checks back in the day, I used my old Battlefield 1942 that had scratches on it already to get past the key checks and then played the complete collection. So, as proof that I had a real game CD, even if it wasn't this. But this is absolutely mint. Won't work on Windows 11. I looked around. Copy protection. That very thing that RMIG-21 famously ranted about, the late great RMIG-21. Famously ranted about back in the 2000s, about how anti-piracy and copy protection screws over gamers. Well, it's come back to bite me once and for all. The 2000s era copy protection on these discs is why I can't use them anymore. So, I had to reinstall one of my favorite games of all time via an abandonware site. And that is how you know when you're old. When games you've bought and paid for, there you go. When games you've bought and paid for, they have a mint physical copy of, you have to install off of an abandonware site because it's that effing old, and so are you. What am I going to do? YouTube has changed, tech has changed, the world has changed. The hell am I going to do in this strange new world? Nothing makes you feel like an outdated fossil more than bullshit like this. Oh, man. The pre-Steam days. The pre-Steam days when PC gamers were all but strangled by copy protection and DRM. One of the reasons why Steam took off in the first place. So yeah, my PC game collection is obsolete. Those of you that like, support physical media and game preservation, here's some mint physical media that does not preserve the game. I could install this on my retro system, or if I made a Windows 7 retro system, like with Tuxedo, I could do that. But this is a game that I played in the XP era. So, yeah, none of that just went over the. It probably looks like I'm like with the pop filter thingy does its thing. Oops. Yeah. Been using this broadcasty type studio equipment-y type stuff for years, and I still don't have that down. Man, I'm old. Either way. Anyways, now the people that have been drinking every time I joke about being old have gotten themselves good and drunk. Yeah. That's the world we live in these days. That's the world we live in. Installed Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield Vietnam off of an abandonware site because I have multiple copies of the game that I bought and paid for, but none of them work anymore because the copy protection broke sometime in the Windows 10 era, which I believe was the last time I played those darn games. What do I need to do? Do I need to... No, let's not even go there. Do I need to make an old system just to install games, then file copy from an obsolete security hazard of an operating system over? Well, there are things like widescreen patches and community patches, and the multiplayer's dead. So the multiplayer with GameSpy, welcome to GameSpy, is long dead. So I really think that is long past that game is long past relevant. Hell, it could be a security hazard like the old Call of Duties were, for all I know. But yeah, what a joke. Just because I want to play retro Battlefield, and there is an active community on community hosted servers playing a resurrected version of Battlefield 1942's multiplayer. So I don't know if you can use Punkbuster for cheating or something, anti-cheat or something like that. I don't know if you still need Punkbuster these days. But yeah, so much has changed. But hey, it's the late 2020s. What do you expect? Gotta feel old sometime, and howdy, folks. Yeah, so that's what's going on with this channel. That's what's going to go on with the tech video projects, with the tech videos and the other projects and stuff like that. So hard drives done, and I'm actually going to look into the Alienware Aurora thing. I am legit curious as to what those things can do, what kind of hardware configs can I get if the value of those crashes really hard, and if the design is terrible, can I salvage that some way with industry standard case? Make a new Delosaurus out of it? Hell, maybe I should keep an Optiplex case around. Wouldn't that be something? Depends on what the form factor of the motherboard is and how proprietary it is. I might downgrade it to air cooling for all I know. Whatever. Anyways, Alienware Aurora. So I can get some Fortnite tournaments gaming PC as my backup system. First, I got to make some money. I better go find a way to work some overtime or something to be able to afford that rubbish, or check where I'm at for ad revenue since the last time I used it on computer stuff. See if I've earned enough ad revenue since then to dent some of that. But yeah. So, yeah, the Windows 10 era is over, ladies and gentlemen. The Windows 10 era is over. I didn't think I'd be sitting here talking to you about all of this, but here we are. From my fake sword, tonight, Spartans, tonight. I can just put that in the video. I'm not streaming. What am I doing? Spartans, tonight we use Windows 10, or whatever the hell it was. Tonight we check out Windows 10. But it's just wild that I'm here. I was there for the beginning and I'm here for the end. And then hopefully I stick around long enough to move on from it and do some more fun stuff for you folks. Those of you that are still around that haven't given up on me, thanks. YouTube is weird these days. YouTube even has pay to play like the other social medias where you have to pay money to get views. That's another discussion entirely, but that's the social media meta now, where your views will get truncated unless you pay money to actually keep the viewers you previously had. But that is another discussion for another day. It's under promote in your creator studios. Yeah, it's buried in there. YouTube hasn't been as explicit about it as some social media platforms are, but it's there. So, yeah, what a strange new world. We used to be able to just make videos and people would watch them. Now it's got to be all this complicated shit. Whatever. Anyways. All right. Time to shut up and do stuff. Till next time, this is Multimedia Jay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.